Psycho, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and The Silence of the Lambs. Works of fiction in the horror genre, yes. But of course, inspired by actual events which are fact. I'm Dr. Peter Persil, and this is Real Horrors, the real Silence of the Lambs. Why, hello there. My name is Dr. Peter Persil. It has been a while since I was last on here. In this, I'm giving you true horror. So, as I said, Psycho, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and The Silence of the Lambs. Works of fiction. But of course, they're all inspired by one truth. The real horror that is Ed Gein. Born Edward Theodore Gein on the 27th of August 1906 and died the 26th of July 1984. He was also known as the Butcher of Plainfield, or the Plainfield Ghoul. Now, Ed Gein had pretty much a regular life, had a family, a mother, a brother. His brother sadly lost in a forest fire, and with his father not in the picture, he sulked to his mother as his only company. And of course, she soon passed away. And that is when Ed Gein's dark ways had then started to go in. Between the winters of 1958, let's see. Yes. During the time of 1958 and 1957 and 1958, Ed Gein committed various crimes. Grave robbing, taking dead bodies from their graves and using the bodies to make essentials, such as human bowls made from the top of skulls. Even included furniture with human leather, a belt made out of human nipples, even a face mask. Of course, Ed Gein's crimes got way more grisly as time went on. On the morning of November 16th, 1957, the Plainfield hardware store owner, Bernice Warden, disappeared. She was a resident of the town. Everybody knew Ed Gein as well. But she was nowhere to be seen. Even her son went looking for her. Upon that, eventually around 6 o'clock at the evening time, blood was found on the floor of her stairs. The police eventually got leads to Ed Gein's house, a small isolated farmhouse, where the police made the horrific discovery. When investigating in a dark hut, they soon found a headless body hanging, a recently deceased one. Of course, it was the body of Bernice. Ed Gein even killed another person, a second victim, if I can find it here, somewhere on the Wikipedia page. Yes. He killed 2 women, and he had stolen 9 corpses. He stole these corpses and made furniture. Now I know what you're thinking. Yes. These acts inspired the 1974 slasher film The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now that part of the crime was inspired that movie, the grisly acts. So when they say in the taglines of that movie, based on a true story or based on true events, it most certainly is based on true events. The crimes of Ed Gein. Now the next part of this, where they think, why? Why did he commit these heinous acts? He did not take things lightly after his mother passed. He missed her a lot. So he wanted to create some illusion that she was still around. Hence the inspiration for Norman Bates in Robert Bloch's novel, Psycho, which was adapted into a film in 1960 directed by Alfred Hitchcock. That strong connection he had with his mother clearly inspired Norman Bates' creation, and that is the part of Ed Gein Norman Bates is inspired by. Dressing as his mother, creating the illusion she is still here, robbing a grave, doing anything in his power to make sure that what he has looks real and is real. And of course, the police discovered that there were a lot of female bodies, and he was making a bodysuit. He was simply making a bodysuit to recreate his mother. And then, when this bodysuit was complete, he would then place the costume on, parade around the house, posing as his mother, all to create that illusion that she is still there. Again, inspiring of Norman Bates. But of course, the desire to be female and make a bodysuit inspired the deranged serial killer in the 1991 film The Silence of the Lambs. Yes, Hannibal Lecter features in it, and he is a cannibalistic killer, but he only gets a small amount of time in that film. Still makes it count. But, of course, Buffalo Bill is the antagonist, the one being hunted. And what Buffalo Bill desires, all he desires, is to be a female. So he skins women and tries to make a bodysuit to create the illusion of him becoming a woman because he's so disgusted with his male gender. Obviously not being able to have a sex change operation provided, he resorts to this and kidnaps a young girl. The part where Ed Gein wishes to be a woman inspired Buffalo Bill. So, the real horrors. Of course, I guess the real horror is that is the horrors that happened. This was the real Silence of the Lambs, because these grisly acts of Ed Gein gave writers of fiction so much inspiration to shape the horror genre to how we have it, to create those three iconic killers, Norman Bates, Leatherface, and Buffalo Bill. And like Norman Bates, Ed Gein was sectioned and put into a psychiatric hospital. Only for Norman Bates, in the Psycho sequels, he was released. But Ed Gein never ever left. He spent his time in the mental hospital, laying on his bed, looking up at the wall and not doing much. Just probably thinking about the crimes he'd committed. I don't know. And then, of course, in 1984, on July... What did I put the date down again? On July 26, 1984, Ed Gein had passed away from cancer. As he had such a lust for his mother, they buried him next to her, so he could be with her always. Of course, the tombstone was stolen and then was recovered, but has never been put back since. Guess if they did do that, someone might just do it again. But these are the true horrors. This is the real horror. The real Silence of the Lambs. So, if we did not have Ed Gein, we may not have had the iconic horrors that we have today. Not just Psycho, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the Silence of the Lambs, but all other matters of horrors, such as American Horror Story Asylum and, Rob Zombie's Firefly franchise. So many things from horror. Of course, without the fact, I guess there would not be the fiction. So, there you are. This was Dr. Persil's Real Horrors, the real Silence of the Lambs. I'll be back next time, at some point, going over another case of real horrors. Until then, goodbye.